So what if you could give your AI a library card? I mean, a real key to unlock all the world's current, up-to-the-minute information, not just the stuff it was trained on years ago. Well, that's the whole idea behind one of the biggest, most practical breakthroughs in AI today, Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or as we call it, RAG. Let's dive in.
To really get why RAG is such a game changer, we first have to talk about the core problem it solves, this knowledge gap that's built into pretty much every AI. Even the most powerful models out there have this one fundamental limitation.
You've totally been there, right? You ask an AI about some recent event, and it just gives you a blank stare, because its knowledge is totally frozen in time. Or, even worse, it confidently just invents an answer that sounds super plausible, but is completely 100% made up.
Yeah, that phenomenon actually has a name, hallucination. It's when the AI is literally just dreaming up facts. See, these models are designed to predict the next most likely word, so they can string together sentences that are grammatically perfect, sound totally authoritative, but are completely disconnected from reality.
And listen, this is not just some trivial little glitch. Just imagine you're a lawyer, and your AI assistant starts inventing legal precedents out of thin air for a huge court case. This is a really high-stakes problem, and it just completely destroys the trust we need to have in these tools.
So if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, if an AI's knowledge is trapped in its training data, the answer is actually pretty simple. You have to give it a way to look things up in the real world right now.
Okay, think about a standard large language model like a brilliant student. It's got this incredibly powerful brain. It has absorbed a ton of information, and it can reason and write and create in ways that are just mind-blowing.
But here's the catch. This brilliant student, they've only studied from a fixed set of textbooks from last year. All their knowledge is static. It's frozen. They have zero access to the latest news, the most recent research, or anything published after their training was done.
And this is exactly where Retrieval-Augmented Generation comes into play. RAG is basically a framework that connects that powerful LLM brain to external, real-time sources of information, things like your company's private documents, databases, or even the entire live internet.
So, going back to our analogy, RAG is like the expert librarian who hands that brilliant student the exact up-to-date article they need, right when they need it. It doesn't just give them a library card, it actually finds the relevant page and opens it for them before they even try to answer your question.
Okay, so how does this AI librarian actually work? Well, under the hood, it's a surprisingly elegant and honestly pretty logical process.
It's really like a simple three-step dance. First, when you ask a question, the RAG system retrieves information. And it's not just doing a simple keyword search. It actually tries to understand the meaning of your question to find text that's truly relevant. Second, it augments your original prompt by stuffing all of that fresh factual context right into it. And finally, it hands that new, supercharged prompt to the LLM to generate a response that is now grounded in real, verifiable data. And the result of this process? It just completely changes the kind of answer you get. The difference is night and day. A standard LLM gives you an educated guess based on old, static data. But a RAG-powered model, it gives you a specific, accurate answer that's grounded in freshly retrieved facts. And a lot of the time, it can even cite its sources for you.
Now, this isn't just some cool concept floating around in a research lab. RAG is already being deployed out in the real world, and it's totally transforming how entire industries use AI.
I mean, you can see its versatility everywhere. In healthcare, RAG gives doctors the absolute latest clinical trials. In finance, it's analyzing live market data. For customer service, it can pull up your specific order history in a second. You see the common thread here, right? In all these cases, what you need is accurate, timely, and context-specific information. Think about this in a business setting for a minute. You could ask an AI assistant, hey, how did our sales in the third quarter compare to our marketing spend? A RAG-powered system can instantly go and query your internal sales database and your marketing reports to give you a precise, data-backed answer, not just some vague, generic summary. So when you put it all together, the benefits are just crystal clear. You get accuracy because the answers are grounded in facts, not fiction. You get timeliness because it's pulling from real-time data. This, in turn, builds trust because the AI can actually show its work by citing sources. And maybe most importantly, especially for businesses, it is incredibly cost-effective. You don't have to constantly retrain the entire massive model. You just have to keep its library up to date. But Just like with any powerful technology, RAG isn't a silver bullet. It's not a magic wand. It introduces its own set of challenges that are really crucial for us to understand as we try to build more trustworthy AI.
So here's the catch. A RAG system is completely 100% dependent on the quality of its library. If the external knowledge it's pulling from is biased or incorrect or just poorly organized, then the AI's response is just going to echo those same flaws. You know the old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
This example is so fascinating and, honestly, a little bit scary. The AI found a book title, which is, a factual piece of text that exists in the world, but it completely missed its rhetorical, questioning nature. It mistook a provocative question for a statement of fact. And that just highlights a huge challenge. Simply retrieving text isn't the same thing as actually understanding its context.
So, this all leaves us with a really provocative thought. RAG represents a fundamental shift in how we think about AI. It's moving from a model that has to know everything to a model that just needs to know how to find everything. It's becoming less like a savant and more like a top-tier researcher. So, is this ability to look things up, to be curious instead of just being confident, is that the final piece of the puzzle for building an AI we can actually finally trust?